Hi, my name's Kevin and welcome to another video. This video is called This and That, which is basically just some sort of various bits and pieces which I want to just talk about. First of all, some people asked me about my hit and miss engine. On the previous part which I've done, which was part 4, they wanted to know the tool and what I used, the rotary table, and and how I went about machining that. So I'll just give a quick explanation about that. I've also had some more stickers come in, so I'll give some shout outs for those people. And then just a quick word about the shaper, which I've been playing with. So anyway, let's start with the tooling which we used on the hit and miss engine. Well, this is the table which I've done all the machining on for the engine so far. It's a Vertex brand, which is a reasonable brand, that's well made. That's a nice solid rotary table. The top is dead flat and it's a nice smooth action, and yeah, I'm happy with it. And obviously we've got the tie down areas for locking work down on the top here. But yeah, it's a 150 wide, so 150 millimeters wide. We've got all the oil ports on there, so it can you can keep it well oiled and that. And like I say, it's a good table and I'm really happy with it. So these are the tools which I used to make the engine so far, and the cylinder block, which is obviously the last video, we used this selection here. So first of all, we've got the boring bar, which obviously we bored this hole out here, and we bored in the top here as well for the water tank. All these tools, apart from these obviously, they just came from China, nothing expensive, just sort of run-of-the-mill tools. I can't afford to buy top-end machinery and top-end tooling and that, so I just have to make do with what I can get. So the boring bar, like I say, is just a generic one from China, but is excellent. It is really good and I'm really happy with it. It's a Morse taper 4, which is what the spindle is on my milling machine, and it's very well made. The V-ways are very good, it's accurate, and I'm happy with that. Then on the milling of the other things, we've got a mixture here. We've got 2 just high speed steel and 2 carbide. So these are both 4 fluted, and obviously they've got their different properties. Then we've got the ball nose ones, which this was used on the bottom, around the sides of the engine. So in here, that was the 10mm one, which is obviously a 5mm radius. And then when it came to machining the top, I couldn't use a 10mm diameter one, I had to use a smaller one. So this one's a 6mm, and that's, like I say, it's just a high speed steel end mill, ball end mill. But as you can see, it gives excellent results. And then when I was squaring the stock up, I was just using a fly cutter, which is a homemade fly cutter, shop made. And the same with this one for boring out the base. Obviously I had to have a long reach, so that's what I used for that, which worked really well. In here it's just got a high speed steel tool, just obviously sharpened and shaped to a fly cutting type tool. And the same with this one. You could actually see this one being sharpened in one of my videos. So yeah, so that's the tooling for that. And then just for lubrication while cutting, just WD-40 on aluminium. That's all I pretty much use. If I was doing, say, like some particular cuts, I would put on a, like a flood coolant or a spray coolant. It wasn't so bad on this, but sometimes the chips can get in the way of your cut. And if they do, they'll just double cut, obviously cut the chips, and you will end up with not a very good finish on some of your material. But like I say, I didn't have no problems on this. Well, I've had the shaper for a little while now. I've been playing with it. First of all, when I got it, I obviously give it a good clean and checked it all and re-greased it all, and re-oiled it and whatever. And that's been running really well. I've been doing quite a few, like test cuts and that, just to get get it nice and square. And that's, I'm really happy with it. At the moment, I'm just waiting for some oilers to come in. They've got these little ball oilers on here, and I'm not happy with them. My oil gun doesn't fit in there properly, so when you give it a squirt, the oil goes everywhere. So what I've done is I've ordered some of these oilers. So I'll bring those in, and they're just, you know, just an oiler what will screw in with a cap. And I'm just waiting for those to come, and then I'll tap the covers on the ways there on the ram, and then I'll install those, which is a lot better idea. I might put a wick in there, I don't know yet, or just obviously when I use it, just squirt it as and when I use it. But with a wick in there, that will, you know, the oil will stay in here longer, and that will just feed into the machine slower. So I might have a look at that, but anyway, I haven't decided on that one yet. The other thing I've been messing around with is the cutters. High speed steel, which is what most people tend to use. If you use carbide tips or anything like that, because they're interrupted cuts, they normally just, you know, knock the tips off the carbide. So HSSB, you know, high speed steel is what most people use. I ground this one up just by sort of just trial and error really, and it does actually work really well. But since then I've been watching Rustinox's videos on YouTube, and he's got some very good videos on, you know, how the cutter actually works and how you should be thinking about, you know, how to approach a cut. So that's good. So what I'll do is I'll grind some more tools up to what he's done, and then I'll give those a try. I've also had some stickers come in this week, and I'd like to give the people a shout out for those. So this one is Turn Right Machine Works, which is Keith Fenner. Real interesting channel, varied work what he does, you know, all sorts of different things. He's a marine engineer by trade, I suppose, but he works on anything, you know, like heavy stuff down to small stuff. He works on older sort of technologies like Babbitt bearings and stuff like that. I like his videos which he's done on shaft straightening. I've never really given that much thought, you know, over sort of previous years, but to see it actually in action, that is clever how he does it. But anyway, that's Keith Fenner. Next one is Aid's Workshop. He's in Wales in the UK. He's got a varied channel. He's just done a small series about making some titanium darts, which has been interesting, and to see how he went about turning the titanium, which is obviously a hard metal. So yeah, so Aid's Workshop. And the last one is Everett's Workshop. He's also got a small shaper, and he's just restored, well I say restored, he's just sort of put it back together, you know, cleaned it and put it back together, and he's done a really good job, and he's now sort of venturing into using that. So again, a varied channel with some interesting projects. Well, here's the board so far, so we'll just add these three to the board. So first of all, Aid's Workshop. And Keith Fenner's Turn Right Machine Works. And Everett's Workshop. If anybody wants to trade stickers or anything, just drop me a message down in the comments and I'll get in touch with you, and then we can trade stickers. Well, another project I've been working on, which is a bit different from machining, is trophies. I've got to make 24 trophies for a fishing event. Here where I live, we have a national event every year or every 2 years or whatever, and this year it's our turn for our club to host that event, and that means that's obviously a national competition. Everybody comes from all over New Zealand, and there's 24 trophies in total up for grabs, and that's to cover surf casting, which is obviously beach fishing, and boat fishing as well. So what we've done is we've got loads of blocks of wood and then machined those up, and then I've set the CNC machine up to just put a groove straight in, and then obviously the trophies themselves have got a tongue on the bottom, and the tongue just sticks into the groove. So yeah, so it's like I say, I've got 24 of those to do. I'll bring you in closer to have a look and just explain how I've done this. So here's the trophy. This is just one of them. They've all got different titles on for different sections and different, because we have a lot of different things like casting, accuracy events, and obviously fishing events. So on this particular one, it's the shore event, which means that obviously has surf casting, and that's the open men's, most fish points. All the fish have got like a point system, and obviously you get awarded points for how many fish and the weight of the fish and such. But anyway, getting back to the trophy itself, this has been laser cut on the laser cutter. Here where we live, we've got a volcano nearby, so I've incorporated that into the trophy. And then obviously this is the emblem for the competition, and then obviously the details. This was all laser engraved, just straight into clear cast acrylic. So laser engraved from the back, because it gives a better finish when you look through from the front. But anyway, so yeah, like I say, 24 of those I've got to make, so that's going to tie me up for a little while. Luckily enough, someone done all the bases for me, so that was good. I didn't have to mess around with that. So anyway, so that's something else I've been messing around with. I haven't really done much on the engine just lately, on the hit and miss engine. I just haven't had time. But I have started to make some of the brass fittings, and this is going to be the push rod, obviously, to open and shut the valve. So that's all I've really had time to do. We just had to mess around with fitting this part in. That fits into a slot. And then obviously the cam will come off here, which is what this is going to be. We're just going to shape that up better. And then the cam sits in here, and then obviously that's not the cam, so the follower. And obviously the cam is going to push the follower, then in turn that pushes the push rod, and then that'll open and shut the valve. But like I say, I've been a bit tied up with other projects at the moment, so I just haven't had time. The other thing I've been on to is a bit of welding for work, and aluminium welding. I had some posts to weld some feet on, and then I had some angled structures to weld up as well. Those I had to do in the garden because I didn't have enough room inside the shed, so they were quite big, sort of around 4 meters by about 3 meters, something like that. And so I'll show you some still. I've got a couple of stills of that and a bit of film, but I couldn't do too much really because it was a paying job, so obviously I had to get those jobs done.